This is the sound of music. The same thing in Indian music, we associate them with the notes which are known as sargama or sarigama. Sa. This is the mother note. It's called as the tonic frequency. I may sometimes handle this subject with many of the ideas on the subject of music in different parts, because I've got all kinds of people who are attending this conference now, and I may not be sure who has learnt music and who has not learnt music, or who has really worked on this subject. So please don't mistake me, if there are a few ideas which I may just jump on to, depending on the need for that particular second. So now we are just going in a flow where we are just trying to understand some basic concepts of music. These are not scholarly ideas that I am trying to project to you, because the more we complicate the subject, the lesser is the interest that anybody could develop. And the very idea of this foundation which has organized this series is to make sure that the dryness of the subject is removed. I say the dryness of the subject because sometimes when we don't understand something, we feel it's very dry. So it's really tough to motivate people by projecting very high scholarly ideas, and it's not right to do that. Luckily, the foundation has shared some of the responses received from the participants, and I have had a look at it, and I'll just get into it after some time, where each one has mentioned something, a small line about what they are into and what is it that they are looking for. And there are some who have even expressed that they have no idea about what exactly they are looking for. So keeping this in mind, I have to just go with the flow of the subject, not deviating from music, but keeping the flow in such a way that everything that you just hear, you just put it into yourself and do not get into large interpretations at this stage. Maybe during the week you will have a chance to interact with yourself, having heard whatever I have said. And there are great scholars in music who have put various things on the social media also. So you may be accessing many videos and audios. So you can have their ideas also, but there is no single standard in music, unfortunately. For example, you take the subject of art, drawing, a slant line. We all understand a slant line just by its inclination. But there is no standard that the slant has to be at 45 degrees or whatever geometric ratio. We understand a slant as a slant and a straight line as a straight line, a crooked line. How crooked is very difficult to interpret. So we just understand the thing by some kind of an idea which has been put into us during our early part of education. So that way, I only request all the participants not to interpret too much of whatever I am saying right now, But use all these ideas, and many of you might have explored these things, and in addition to what you know already, you may hear something new, or you may know something already, and I may be saying something similar. But all interpretations are to be put aside during the session, and whatever thought process is going on into you deep inside, you can just carry it on during the week before our next session happens in the next week. The reason is because from my experience, generally, when students come to me, I even see that as I'm teaching them, they have several ideas which come into their minds and they want to ask a question. But I feel it's too premature to ask a question immediately. There are certain things which can be instantly answered. But there are certain things where even if I answer something or say something about what I want to reply to you, it may not make much of sense because you have not got a little deeper into it by practice. So you need to do a little bit of homework on all these things. Any thought process for that matter, you can't just instantly get ideas, or you can't expect someone to just give you some sort of shortcuts. And in music, there is no shortcut. So having said these things, let us go into each part of these things, taking the definition which we spoke about some time back. An art form, and it's very clear. There's nothing for me to say that this is going to do this is going to be so artistic and all these things. You know that music is an art form. This is a known fact. Based on the principle of sound frequencies, this is what I said some time back, sargam, sare gama. It could be known by some other kind of a verbal utterance in another system. In the Western music, it could be uttered in a different way. In Indian music, we call it as sa re ga ma pa da ni. These are the 7 notes of music, which is common to every region, to every culture, and globally, these are the only 7 notes. Music has got a universal appeal. It has got a global image. It's just the expression part which is different. Indian music sounds in a certain kind of a style. In Europe, you may find a different kind of a culture, because of which their music may sound different. You go to some other part of the world, like you go to the Arabian music, you go to Egypt, you go to the other parts around the Arabic region, they sound totally different. But every part you just start comparing, and you will notice that these 7 notes are common. There's no chance of any kind of a difference. It's only their interpretations which become different. When I say interpretations, here it is the expression. So coming back to the principle of sound frequency, we have these verbal utterances of sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa.
Sa re ga ma pa da ni.
The 7 notes. Sa in Indian music is the mother note, which is called as the Adhara Swar, which is the tonic note, tonic frequency. Now, I told you that something which deals with melody, that sound is musical.